This is the Collector Car Podcast, the home for the auto enthusiast. Join Greg Stanley as he applies over 25 years of insights and analytical experience to the collector car market. He will interview the experts and throw in some fun stuff as well.
Welcome to the Collector Car Podcast. We're going to do something a little bit different today. I was at the Lane Motor Museum down in Nashville a few months ago, and I noticed on one of their walls they had something pretty cool. It was basically letters from kids about their first experience in a car. So I reached out to them and I asked if I could share them on this podcast, and they said sure. So we're going to run through a few of these, and then after that, I'm going to go and try out Today in Automotive History. So I've got a few things I'd like to point out. So this will be a little bit of a shorter podcast, but it'll be something fun and something different. So why don't we go ahead and start? Sorry for the sound of paper shuffling, trying to get my notes together here. Why don't we start with the kid stuff? So this is from Adrian L., who is 11 years old. These are kind of hard to read because there's little kids' handwriting. And Adrian says, my favorite memory is when my dad gave me my, first ride in our 1964 Corvette. Oh, nice. That's a nice car for your first ride. That's pretty sweet. All right, the next one, no name, no age, but says that Dad taught me how to drive stick shift in his 71 CJ7 Jeep. So much fun, exclamation point. Took me to a huge parking lot at a nearby state park. Great place to learn, as not many there. Automatic driving was boring after learning that. Amen. How about that? We got a stick shift aficionado now. The next one, my dad owned a 49 Jeepster. Dark green color. When driving it home from work one day, the gears gave way, and the only gear he could get into was reverse. So, he drove it all the way, about 20 miles home in reverse, using the shoulder of the road whenever necessary. He said it was the experience of a lifetime. So that's more of a funny story about Dad's Jeepster, driving it in reverse. That's just really nuts. All right, this is from Donna in Arkansas. I get the impression Donna is not a child, because she says, my first car was a Mercury Montego. Ugly old car that wouldn't go over 45 miles per hour, but it got me back and forth to school without having to ride the bus. So that is a win. Now we've got another one from Emily. She's got a little heart, Emily. I'm 14 years old, and my mom started to let me back out of the driveway. That's the closest I'll get to driving a car anytime soon. Well, that's a pretty tough one, to back out of a driveway for your first time driving, you know. That was kind of interesting for Mom to do that. She didn't let her go forward where she could see. She had to go backwards. All right, let's see. This one is from Alistair of Limestone Cove, Tennessee. Working on cars with my dad. So that must be a favorite memory of his. He's only 9 years old, and he made a comment that today is my birthday. So whatever day that was, happy 9th birthday to Alistair in Limestone Cove, Tennessee. And for our last one, going to the local car show cruise night with my dad in his 1963 MGB and getting Carvel. So that's a great memory for whoever this is from. Carvel, I'm assuming that's the ice cream shop, and a great memory in that 1963 MGB. So now we're going to move on to this day in motoring history. Oh, thanks for the Lane Motor Museum for providing those. Hopefully we'll have some more in the future. Today, I'd like to thank 365 Days of Motoring website. You can go there and check out what's going on today in motoring history. So I'm just going to pull out a few that stuck out to me. 124 years ago in 1895 was the first British motor show. It was the 1895 Horseless Carriage Exhibition organized by Sir David Shalom. So this is before cars. They were showing off their horseless carriages. 111 years ago in 1908, the Detroit Fire Department received its first motorized fire truck, 1908. 92 years ago in 1927, two folks, Frank Elliott and George Scott, they had a $1,000 bet to see if they can get folks to tow their car, their Model T, across the U.S. So they went 4,759 miles using 168 different passing motorists over 89 days to tow their engineless Ford Model T from their hometown of Halifax, Nova Scotia. That is just nuts. So that's the longest tow job on record. That doesn't seem like it's worth $1,000. I guess back then it might be. 68 years ago in 1951, the Dodge Power Wagons were introduced. That's pretty cool. 62 years ago in 1957, the Lotus Elite was introduced at the 1957 London Motor Show. And 55 years ago in 1964, this is an interesting record. Craig Breedlove accidentally kind of wiped out while trying to make a land speed record in the Spirit of America jet-powered car. And he has the longest skid marks ever recorded. So it sounds like he skidded for like 6 miles or something. So that's kind of funny. Longest skid marks ever recorded. I'm going to stay away from the jokes. 43 years ago in 1976, U.S. Congress passed the Corporate Average Fuel Economy Regulation, CAFE, where automobile manufacturer had to have an average fuel consumption of at least 18 miles per gallon. I don't know what it is today. I just know it's a lot higher. And the last one we'll do here is 2002, 17 years ago, was the introduction of the Bentley Continental GT, which in my mind is one of the prettiest cars ever made. So that is for today. Nice and short and sweet. I hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you all next week.
Thanks for listening to the Collector Car Podcast. Don't forget to give us a nice rating on iTunes and be sure to follow us on Instagram and everywhere else at the Collector Car Podcast.